Welcome back. Many people find it difficult to talk about death, and even more are uncomfortable discussing funerals. But our next guest has no such trouble. He was the pioneer of no-frills funerals, and now he's operating funerals without religion. Please welcome Mr. Keith Russell. I like that. The funeral march straight into when the saints go marching in. That's Ross and the boys for you. Welcome to the show, Keith.
Thank you, Bert.
Well, as I said, you're the pioneer of funerals without frills, and now funerals without religion. This means, I guess, simply what it states.
Exactly, yes.
Is there a market for it, Keith?
Well, according to statistics which the government produced in the yearbook, some 50% of Australians never go to church. And it seemed to me that in 50% of all funerals there is an element of hypocrisy. So I've decided to offer a service for those people that, it's a terrible word, I call them closet Christians. They're people who don't go to church, they believe, but for whom a funeral service conducted by a minister or a priest would be hypocritical.
Yeah. I think, though, that a lot of funerals, basically, and services are there as much for the people in the church or the hall or the garden or wherever as it is for, or as they are, for the people who are dead. Because, of course, those who are dead, whether you believe there is a second life or not, there's not much they can do about what is being done for them. But don't funerals usually have just as much value, if not more value, for the people who are sitting there?
Oh, there's no question about that, Bert.
So who's helped in this area?
Well, I feel that when a minister of religion conducts a funeral service and speaks to God, shall we say, asking him to open the gates of heaven for a person who has never practiced religion, then it seems to me that anybody could get to heaven by simply hiring a minister or a priest. And the cost of hiring a minister or a priest is $65, which is cheaper than a second-class rail ticket to Sydney. What I'm saying is that the act of the minister or priest in conducting a funeral service for a person who's died seems to me to encourage the mourners to believe that one could live any sort of a life in a relaxed sort of a way, because after all somebody's going to pay the $65 and get you your entry ticket. And I think there's something fundamentally wrong and hypocritical about that proposition.
But most of your funerals, are they asked for by the deceased, before they are deceased naturally, or by the loved ones?
About 50-50. Many people of advanced age do think about this, and the phone calls that I've been getting from the advertisements in the paper are coming generally from an older age group who are saying that this is the sort of service which would appeal to them, but because perhaps their families wouldn't have, if I could use the expression, the courage to ask for this kind of funeral service, they themselves are choosing it, asking for a pamphlet, and then imposing their wishes on the sons and daughters, or not so much imposing their wishes, but making them feel okay about it.
What sort of reaction from the churches?
Well, surprisingly, quite good. The church has taken a tolerant point of view, and the Anglican Archbishop of Sydney and Monsignor John Walsh from the Catholic Church both commented on the proposition, and they said it's a natural progression. After all, more than 50% of all weddings are conducted without the church.
They didn't book a funeral?
No.
Keith, it was said to me before you came on today, this is the first time we've met, that you have a nice sense of humour, that you don't mind if I have some fun with this subject. I suppose it must be seen as a fun subject to a certain extent by those people who work in the industry, because if you took everything seriously, particularly in a job like your own, you would go crazy, wouldn't you? And very quickly you might become a client. So I mean, how do you relax? How do you see the humorous side of working as a funeral director?
Well, it comes up in the funniest ways. Of course, there are all the standard funeral jokes that I've got to put up with. People say, you know, I'm the last person they want to meet, and because I always let them down and that sort of thing. But I think some of the funniest things happen quite accidentally, and I'll never forget an occasion when speaking to a lady about the death of her husband, and I just casually asked her what was the cause of death, and she said, Well, I don't rightly remember now, but the young doctor said it was nothing very serious.
I saw something in the paper this morning which stopped me in my tracks. That one of the funeral organisations is sending out brochures to elderly citizens clubs saying, why don't you come over and see what we've got? I mean, most unusual approach, isn't it?
Well,
I mean, I know it's inevitable
Yeah.
and everybody has to face it at some stage of the game, but I mean, wouldn't it be nice just to have a cup of tea perhaps and just, a little bit of a chat rather than going over and choosing?
Oh, I think the funeral is a commercial transaction, and these days in Melbourne you're looking at $2,500, and a few years ago that was the price of a new car, and you wouldn't have bought a new car without going for a drive in it. So people like to go and look at the coffins.
Is that part of the humour you were talking about?
No, it's deadly serious. And
Deadly serious was that part of the humour, right?
And they do take a sort of a morbid interest in the coffins, and you can buy them with inner spring mattresses and drapes and so on. And some people are very interested in that sort of thing, but it's they're sort of afraid to ask.
What sort of funeral are you having?
Cardboard box somewhere in some country location, I hope.
No religion?
No religion, no.
And who'll do the service for you?
I'm going to tape my own. It's going to be...
You old skinflint.
I'm going to have some fun, speaking as it were from the grave.
What are you going to say?
I haven't thought about that yet, because I've decided to put the whole process off for as long as I can.
Now, that's funeral humour that I like. Keith, thanks for joining us today. And it's certainly an unusual attitude, but obviously there's a market there for it. Keith Russell, Funerals Without Religion.